Good evening, everyone. Welcome in to the, first video on the Mitchellmatosis Dave Mitchell YouTube channel, which is me. I'm joined today by fellow Lonely Boy podcasting co-host and good friend of mine, James Hewlett. Say hello, James.
Hello, James. How are you, Mitchell?
I'm very well, thank you, man. I'm very excited and very happy to be finally recording a wrestling podcast. I was
just thinking about it. It was just a little over a year ago that we did our first potential episode when we did a WrestleMania preview.
We did streamed over
like
Facebook. It was good. It was towards the back end of my small acclaimed student radio show, and we tried to do it entirely on Facebook Live without being wired in through an Ethernet cable. So I only found out afterwards. And there was a small audience of maybe like 4 or 5 people, which I was quite happy with. My friend Billy watched the entire bloody thing in basically static and jerky black and white. It was very good. But if I remember correctly, you did win. Because we did an entire NXT and WrestleMania and all the pre-show matches as a prediction show, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I'm pretty sure you beat me. I haven't got my...
I think I did. I can't remember.
It might even be in my Lonely Boys Meets World podcast book. So, one of the books I've got lying around somewhere. Oh, that's weird. The green screen makes my book look...
Like a pad.
You can't see this, James, but because my green screen's behind me, the green pad looks like it's invisible. But it's still in front of my face.
It looks totally visible to me.
Well, yeah, you're not watching the stream. You're watching our actual Zoom conversation. So yeah,
I get to see behind the magic.
Oh, very exactly, man.
I get to see the dark side of the ring.
You get to see the green wall in the room full of baby pictures that I have in my parents' house, which is ever so exciting. But then you've been here anyway, so you kind of know what they are.
Not for a very long time.
Yeah, of course. If you are incidentally watching this, we're streaming live on Twitch currently at twitch.tv/Mitchellmatosis. Which is my channel. All the links will be, if you're on YouTube watching this, down below. And if you're watching this on Twitch, you want to find a link to the YouTube channel. I haven't put one up yet, so it will be a link at some point, probably down below where I am. But yeah, that's... And also, sorry, James looks a bit jumpy. Once we get this on YouTube, I'll put an actual video of James' face moving in time with his voice. And got to iron out the fine kinks. Obviously, this is episode 1 of our wrestling show, and there's been a lot of wrestling to talk about, despite the fact that all the sport in the world basically stopped, James.
That's right around the time that I stopped watching week to week. I'd been following Dynamite every week. I'd been keeping up roughly with NXT.
Yeah.
Without maybe watching every episode, but Dynamite I had been. But I watched the first couple of weeks of the lockdown shows as they were. And then I dropped right off. I just couldn't find motivation to watch anything like that at all. I kept up to date with what was happening in big storylines and stuff. And I watched was it Double or Nothing? Whatever their last big AEW pay-per-view was.
I think it was Double or Nothing, yeah.
It was Double or Nothing because they're the chips and everything. Yeah. So I watched that. Really enjoyed it. I love that product so good anyway at the moment. But I hadn't kept up with much of anything other than just looking at results and reading about odd storylines and stuff. I did watch Takeover as well, the latest Takeover.
Oh, see, for the first time ever, I didn't make it through the entirety of a Takeover.
Ooh,
because
I'm just trying to think if I did or not.
The match I was most looking forward to, and under every other takeover scenario, would have probably stolen the show. But it was made the cinematic match, and we got to Cole versus the Velveteen Dream, Patrice Clark. People forget that he was called Patrick when he started.
Yeah, I watched that, and then everything that's happened since has made me go, oh.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, and it's been weird because although of course the wrestling was always really good on NXT, no one can ever say that wrestling on NXT isn't. And a lot of and that's one of the main topics of today. I think we're going to be talking about is women's wrestling as a whole. The women on NXT have been excellent. Shotzi Blackheart's been an excellent addition to that kind of group. ever since the heel turn and the progressive movement, because Dakota Kai, who has always been a fan of her work, she's been doing excellent stuff on the brand. They're even including Charlotte Flair in the title picture, Io, everyone like Rhea Ripley. Very, very, very good group of women. Apart from that, you've got Keith Lee, and I don't have much interest in anything else. And I think that is very, very unlike NXT traditionally.
Yeah, I think it's because they've since going to TV, they've had such they've needed to keep people instead of like moving people through and bringing in constant new talent. Like people are there for a year, maybe 2 years, then they'll move on, which is how it's always been. So it's always been this fresh thing. There's always been someone new to get excited about. Whereas because they've needed to establish this core group, so you've got like Undisputed Era, you've got Ciampa, Tommaso Ciampa, and Gargano, and obviously like your Keith Lee's, your Dreams, your Dijakovics, those guys. But it's been the same basic group of top guys now for so long that I agree with you. Like, I'm not excited about Gargano or Ciampa anymore, and that's so weird because you go back a couple of years ago and they were the best fucking thing in wrestling.
Now, I am still excited by Ciampa because at least Ciampa, through injury, of course, went away for a while. There was an element of he's not on TV every week, which is also the reason why Cole and Gargano are staler, because it wasn't as diluted.
They were
exactly. He was the champion. He was the face of that brand, and they had to. I
mean, and both of them, like that was your top heel, your top babyface of the brand, and they did all the work. They kept it afloat, they kept it going, and so I've got nothing bad to say against either of them, other than I'm just a little bit bored of it.
Yeah, this is very true, and I think like that's also, and we'll stay on NXT for a minute because obviously they've got the American Bash show coming up. I believe it's this week. Is it tomorrow night? Maybe Wednesday night as we film.
It was rushed. It was rushed to compete with Fyter Fest.
Yeah. Because Fyter Fest is obviously not. It's a separate event. It's still a TV show, much like how TNA do their branded events or used to before it went to Impact.
But I think that's what American Bash is, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Like. Whereas normally that would have been an NXT pay-per-view style show. They've moved them all just to coincide with the TV, to essentially fill time, because there's only so much they can film, especially WWE right now, where they're dropping like flies by the looks of it. So, but we'll get to the COVID horrors later. There's no way we can start this without talking about. Well, we can't get demonetized because we're not making any money. So I'm pretty sure we can say coronavirus. We'll just have to bleep it out in 6 months when I get 100 followers or something. Because I know Cultaholic get demonetized for saying it. The card for NXT coming up for the Bash does look quite interesting, and there's a couple of matches I do like the look of. And one match that stands out, which I think is going to be very silly, because I don't think there's been a match of its sort on WWE television in about 10 years. If that, maybe more.
What's that?
The Dexter Lumis Roderick Strong match is a strap match.
Is it really?
It is, yes. They're having a strap match on NXT. Now that alone is intriguing, because are they just going to be attached? Because obviously the whole point is Dexter Lumis's character, he's a bit of a stalker, kind of like creepy person. Even going back to his days when he was in TNA, before he broke his neck, if I remember correctly. I think that was why he got written off for a little while.
Did not know that.
I think that's who it was. I want to say by DJ Z, but I might be getting my people mixed up. I think I might be talking about someone else there, but it was a stalker, kind of like creepy character.
We saw DJ Z in Progress, didn't we?
Are we allowed to say Progress? Is it safe? Is it NSW?
We'll get to that.
Yeah. He was in the tag match. He kept pointing to the backstage and going, bah, 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 and I marked out every single time because I've always loved DJ Z. Ever since he was Zima Ion. And again, I'm already sounding like a complete TNA mark.
NXT,
he is in the NXT, yeah. I'm not sure what his
they've changed his
name is, yeah, but I just know him as Zima Ion or DJ Z. He used to run out with this big hairspray can. God, I loved TNA 10 or 15 years ago. It was so much better than everything that's ever existed. That's a lie.
You don't mention it ever.
Well, this is the thing, right? Because like everyone who's good now was in TNA. And people who are being underutilized now were in TNA. Like, it was like how I view it now is how I also viewed ECW years ago, where people just went there for a bit and then went off to do different things. So a lot of people just dropped by TNA, and we saw some there was the list of people who went from New Japan and their deal going over and stuff. It's where I first saw Sonada, who's like my favourite wrestler in New Japan.
Okada as well.
Okada was there, yeah. The Naka was over there for a while. They didn't even mention that he was champion, but Nakamura went over there. Yeah, they were just Vince Russo. I think he must have been booking at the time. He tried to get his talent over by not mentioning for some reason they were really big stars in this other country. Because at the time, New Japan wasn't as big as it is now.
No, not so. Especially not in the States or over here.
It was during the time, obviously, when Kurt Angle would have been the TNA and New Japan heavyweight champions. So there was a period where people moved backwards and forwards and had a good working relationship with TNA. But at that time, the whole reason Kurt Angle went to get the belt is because Brock Lesnar didn't really want to work and was being lazy. But Brock Lesnar was like the final dart throw. There was nothing going on there at all, apart from like a couple of good talents that were underutilized, aka your Nakamuras and your Gotos and stuff who were there at the time. I think Goto was there at the time.
There was a whole period of time where New Japan wasn't doing much at all.
Oh yeah, well, there's some excellent stuff on YouTube about it. I mean, you were the one who pointed me onto them. Actually, I'm not sure the name of them, but Kevin Kelly narrates.
Kevin Kelly presented. Yeah, it's great.
Like the history of the Bullet Club.
It's
the something Countdown maybe or something like that.
No, it is definitely the Count or something.
Yeah,
I'll look it up. You keep going.
That's okay. So they're like especially like people James and I are both south coast of England. New Japan wasn't really a thing, which made it over here, never televised. You had to go out of your way to find it, and it wasn't something which I did a lot. I mainly focused on like smaller American independents and some stuff over here in England. And to be honest with you, it wasn't until AJ Styles joined the Bullet Club that I really started taking an interest. Again, good old TNA Mark Mitchell over here. Wow, AJ Styles as just... Because I didn't know who Prince Devitt was. I had no idea who Virgil Devitt was until he got booted out and replaced by AJ Styles, that brought Finn Balor more to my attention than anything he'd done in the ring.
Yeah.
Same with Kenny Omega. I didn't know who he was until he joined the Bullet Club. And now I go back and see some of his matches and I'm like, wowzers.
All the DDT stuff, the Golden Lovers stuff. It's
it's outrageous wrestling. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, did you have...
Again, like with both of those, I think like that was the thing. Like, Devitt was obviously he was well liked by people that knew him, but it wasn't. I mean, it was Bullet Club that put him on the map, and then again, it was post Bullet Club that really elevated him. And I think more people are like us. In the fact that they know him after Bullet Club, but then went back.
Did you know he had a deal with Armani in Japan as a model who modelled suits?
I didn't.
And he left that when he went to NXT.
Yeah.
They must have paid him some money to make him leave an Armani deal.
Yeah.
That's crazy money.
But I mean, it's the same as TV actors, isn't it? Like they'll have all these endorsement deals in like the rest of the world where they're well known for this one thing that we've never see or never see. It's the Joey Tribbiani advert in Japan.
Oh syndrome. yeah, definitely, man. And that's always the way. And one of the things that I love about OSW is that towards the end of each episode they'll have a wrestling is awesome segment, and they'll put little clips in. And there's one clip of a Japanese child's product with Hulk Hogan singing a little nursery rhyme going dun, 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 and it's fucking terrifying, and it would give nightmares to American children.
You see the Knackers adverts over there as well.
Oh, I've seen a couple. Yeah.
They're brilliant. And just him dancing with little schoolgirls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just so wholesome, so good.
Mate,
love it.
He's still regarded as godlike status. If he left WWE, he would walk into and win a G1 I think, and be heralded
Yeah.
as the second coming of Nakamura. Like,
Or he would have the same thing that it was what annoyed Naito, wasn't it?
yeah,
Like last time he was champ, was that Nakamura got the headlining spot despite the fact that Naito won the G1 and
well,
was like meant to be the headliner
Yeah.
of Wrestle Kingdom that year.
that just says to me exactly what it should be, and it's a problem which WWE have suffered with for a long time, is that a belt doesn't make you successful. Being successful makes you successful. I mean, if you look at the last 10, 15 years, how many times the WWE title match has either not gone on last, or gone on last and been overshadowed by a match earlier against the two bigger stars. Now,
I mean, that was the problem that they had when Sean came back. We've talked about it a lot in the past, but like when Sean came back, he only had one brief title run. The rest of his almost 10 years that he was there, 8 years or something, he never had he rarely had the title match at WrestleMania, but he always had like the best match consistently. But that's just
upon his return.
Effect.
After he came back.
The like 2002 to 2010 or whatever it was.
Because he didn't face, because obviously when he came back, he had that feud with Triple H, which was amazing. I love that entire story arc leading up to the.
It's a great return story as well.
From leading, what was it the SummerSlam no DQ match, and then there's the Elimination Chamber, which Shawn wins for the world title, which is amazing. That's one of my favourite matches in the world.
Run when he comes back.
Yeah. But that's the first Elimination Chamber match, I believe, and it's also the best because Shawn Michaels wins. Not biased at all. But then, of course, that leads to the 3 stages of Hell match against Triple H. And then that's his feud done with Triple H for a while. And when he comes around to Mania again, I thought that feud might continue because he never had a WrestleMania match against Triple H. And I thought that would always be amazing. Obviously, you had Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho.
He had the triple threat.
Oh, of course, against
him, Triple H, and the one who will not be named.
Yeah, we're documentarians, James. We can say his name.
Okay, again, and Benoit.
Nunzio. Oh, sorry, can't say that now. I forget because and again, it's through you hear what you want to, you hear what you hear, and you see what you see. They've obviously erased that match from history a little bit. And
I think last time I had the network, which was last year.
Oh, it's still on it.
It's still on there. But
they just don't advertise it. And also, if you search his name, it doesn't come up. But if you watch the pay-per-view, it comes up.
Even on the Shawn Michaels best of WrestleMania matches playlist, that one's not there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at that.
All the others are there. Like, you can go through Shawn's entire history of every WrestleMania match, back through all the Rockers ones and everything. But not that.
Yeah. There's an argument starting to be made, and I'll be asking your opinion for it immediately. Your favourite Shawn Michaels WrestleMania match?
Oh, you know my answer. It's 12. It's the Iron Man match.
Oh, of course, against Hitman.
I don't even necessarily think it's the best, but it's my favourite for the nostalgia of it.
Yeah.
For me, that's peak.
That's fair.
I remember watching that the day after.
Yeah.
Because I was.
Of course, you can't be staying up to that late in the morning.
No, I was 9.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching that live, but I remember watching it on the Monday when I got home from school.
Yeah.
And just the emotions of just literally bouncing around on my sofa as the clock is ticking down, and I can see the spots and where they are in that time through that match even now. I love it.
That's probably the best bit about that match is the pacing and the timing.
And have you heard Brett talk about it as well? Where it's just there was a point where he was like, we had it so meticulously planned out, and we at the time they were still friendly with each other.
Yeah.
It was just before actually Shawn got his gripe on, but which came with the pressure of being the champ and everything. But he was sort of saying they had it so well planned out that he knew that at the 5-minute mark that they'd be in this certain position in the corner, and he remembers having Shawn in the turnbuckles and then just glancing up and going, "Oh, we should be around 5 minutes ish." Looking up and it bang on. They were that good and that tight.
Yeah, man.
It's brilliant.
I always find it quite interesting.
A lot of people give it shit for being slow.
Oh, well, it has to be. An hour match with no falls, that's never happens. if you're having a fast-paced version, then you're looking at Angle versus Lesnar, which was 5-3 or 5-4. No, 5-all, wasn't it? The one on SmackDown. It was like an hour SmackDown match. It was a draw, I think.
The Shawn Brett one again, like Shawn in firsts. Like I'm pretty sure that was the first one, especially on that scale.
On WWF, on WCW had a few hour-long Ric Flair like matches over the years.
Were they? I
don't know if they're Iron Man matches, but it was.
That's the thing, yeah.
The concept of an hour-long Broadway wasn't done in WWE because they didn't have the athleticism. It was always big guys in the land of giants, and it was often a Ric Flair, Savage, or Steamboat, Barry Windham kind of style affair. Yeah. One thing that always makes me laugh, and I can't remember where I heard him say it, but Bret Hart was discussing plans coming out of that WrestleMania match, and because he was going away to film his like cowboy TV western show that he was doing, Bang Bang, and I can't remember what it's called for the life of me.
He was just taking some time off.
No, he went away to film this TV show, so he dropped the belt. He went to record it, and then he was going to come back. And when he went away, or when he got out the ring, like the entire thing was he was going to storm out the building, and when he came back, he would challenge Shawn again. And Shawn was like, yeah, let's go, leave the building, don't say anything to anyone, pretend you're really pissed, we'll work the workers. But it's one of those key moments where you don't work yourself into a shoot. So Bret was like, this is amazing. I didn't quite like what he said to me when I went to get out of the ring, but I don't think I was supposed to. So I went away, and it was fine. And I came back, and it was Survivor Series, and I was supposed to face him. And HBK goes... he goes, no, we'll wait till Mania. And Bret goes, that's fine, we'll wait till Mania. You do your stuff with Sid, then I'll do my stuff. Austin said, this is perfect. I have a great Survivor Series match, everything's fine. Comes round, I lost my smile. Bret doesn't get his return, and this entire thing all leads to Bret getting more and more bitter into his heel turn. Most of it was all originally supposed to be an actual work to make the fans think that everyone hated each other. And it worked so well that they ended up hating each other because they played it so well. And they were actually both being...
Pills and alcohol.
Yeah, Shawn was actually a dick at the time. Sometimes you an elevated example of yourself, of course.
It's such a funny thing, isn't it? Because it's like, yes, he was an absolute dick at the time.
Oh, mate.
You got to think about who his boss was.
Yeah.
In Vince, and the pressure that was being put on him, because that was when obviously Hall and Nash left.
Yeah.
Two of Shawn's best friends, they left, and they made WCW just skyrocket, and they took over. And Shawn is there left with the belt, with the title, with the pressure all on him as being the champ, and they plummet. They're at an all-time low.
I am currently watching through all of the Monday Nitros and pay-per-views from 1996 because someone is hosting them. I'm not going to say anywhere what his name is or anything because it might get taken down. But there's one it's at that moment where NWO is there in the early days. Giant in Sting's kind of just coming back, helping DDP. Okay. DDP's feuding with Savage, its prime amazing era. But there's also Horseman versus the Dungeon of Doom who are still there, and Kevin Sullivan and Benoit are feuding, and Nancy Sullivan is coming to the ring with Nancy Benoit, husband and wife are coming to the ring together. I'm looking at it going, this is tough to watch, because I remember watching this whole storyline unfold. This is how I first heard about all these wrestlers, watching this 1996 WCW, and I just went bang back to it. I was like, wow.
It's peak time.
Crazy,
I love
man.
96. I know all of the 96 like WWF.
Yeah.
And everything. Like I remember all of them distinctly.
Oh man.
Even the In Your Houses and stuff like that. Like, it's good times, good stuff.
There's always an In Your House match which I think gets overlooked, and it was, I think it was 97 because Taker had just beaten. No, it would have been. 97 after Mania, so a year after the Iron Man match where Taker beat Sid for the title.
That's 97, yeah.
97, and the pay-per-view afterwards, Taker faces Mankind, and it's the one where Undertaker burns Paul Bearer's face.
Yeah.
With the flash paper.
So it's in the build-up. It's the build-up to Kane. It's all the setup.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed.
Which comes later on.
Because you have the Brett Taker SummerSlam match for the title, where Shawn swings a chair and misses Brett and hits Taker, and then and then we get the screw job, and then the Hell in a Cell.
Well, we get Hell in a Cell. We get Taker Brett, Taker Shawn.
Yeah.
Where Shawn wins.
Of course, yeah, and then you get screw job.
Then you get screw job. Yeah.
Yes, that sounds about right. The whole period is excellent. We've got to do like an actual like show review at some point because that would be fantastic.
I mean, we're jumping all over the place at the moment. So
mate, well, that's the thing. Like we're just spitballing like random. Where did we started it? We
aggressive.
started at NXT, and then we ended up at Hell in a Cell at 97. Straight to Shawn.
Always back to Shawn. Like
so I'm going to rein it back to the point that I was originally going to make, because what happened was we were talking about two matches I thought were interesting at the NXT show coming up. And the first one, which led us to was Dexter Lumis versus Roderick Strong, which led us to 98 and 97. So let's see where this one takes us. Coming over from, I believe, the SmackDown brand to face Io Shirai in a non-title match is one half of the women's tag team champions, Sasha Banks.
Yes.
Now, we've had a little bit of
on SmackDown, isn't she?
She's number one contender on Raw.
Oh, okay.
Because this is like one of the things, like I'm going to spin this into the whole women's wrestling scenario. Without getting off topic now, we're going to stay focused, everyone. Half an hour in, we're not going to end up in 97 again. With, obviously, Bayley, and I'm a huge fan of Bayley currently in her heel gimmick. Her music's better, her soccer mum haircut, the loudmouth persona. Somehow it works really well for her. I think she's just really, really good at what she does. I think she's better.
It's funny, isn't it, how both her and Dakota Kai just instantly got so much better with their heel turns.
Bayley is my favourite horsewoman. I'm not afraid to admit that or ashamed. But
I think that's fair.
I think that at some point, of course, her and Sasha will break up. But obviously now you've got, with Charlotte stepping away through injury or for an operation of sorts, another woman coming over to NXT to face the champion. Now, obviously, we had this before with Rhea Ripley, and Brian Alvarez said something on the Observer Live very interesting, which I think it was 2 days ago. When Charlotte came over, she at Mania beat Rhea for the title. She didn't lose the match. Io Shirai beat Rhea Ripley. Yeah. So Charlotte went over against the champion, and then the person who was the champion didn't get the win back. Someone else won the belt without getting pinned.
Yeah.
So there's a big chance coming up this week on Wednesday that Sasha Banks is going to face Io Shirai non-title and win.
Is it non-title?
It's to the best of my knowledge, it's non-title. We'll have a look at that in a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now let's get wrestling news up. But
see, I didn't realise that it was non-title. I saw the title.
I
the
think
card,
it's non-title.
And I just presumed it was.
I hope it's non-title. I don't want to see Sasha Banks as the NXT.
They're just going to put the NXT title back on each of the horsewomen.
Yeah, that would be weird, wouldn't it? Oh,
I mean,
value your privacy.
Other than Becky, they all had it, but Becky's not coming back anytime soon.
Well, Becky will be back.
Yeah, not anytime soon.
No, definitely. Well, I don't think she'll be back until like a year SummerSlam, like in 2021
so she's
SummerSlam
gonna
kind of way.
Be giving birth near the end of the year, so yeah, it'll be at the earliest end of next year.
Yeah, right. I can't find it anywhere. I can't look while I'm typing. Sorry, it doesn't matter. So yeah, she's gonna be on for a while. Bayley is one champion. Asuka is another. I think for now, keep that. That's great. I think Asuka's one of the best things that's happened on Raw.
And I'm glad that this giving us something to do this time around.
One face champion, one heel champion, perfect. I like the fact they've got storyline.
Asuka face again.
When Asuka got given the briefcase by Becky Lynch after she won Money in the Bank and the title was in the briefcase, she opened it, and so now she's still acting like Asuka, but they're not making her evil Asuka. Like this week on last night's Raw main event was her and Drew McIntyre teaming up with Dolph Ziggler and Sasha Banks, the two number one contenders. So she's a face.
Yeah, she's the face. Yeah.
Which is good. I like the dynamic. The dynamic between Drew and Asuka was amazing as well. I think that worked really, really well.
Cool. They're good. They are both good.
Yeah. Interestingly, the heels won that to set up the feud again. Makes sense. You can't have the champions going over before the pay-per-view. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
But the thing I wanted to talk about, James, obviously, like NXT, we know the women in NXT are great and they're building up all those athletes really, really well.
Yep.
With Charlotte and Becky gone, I want to talk to you about who's going to step up to fill the spots that they've left. Ignoring Becky and Charlotte, who aren't there. Ignoring Becky and Charlotte who aren't there. Bayley's a champion, Sasha's a champion, so let's remove the 4 horsewomen. Asuka's a champion, let's remove that. You've got 2 spots to replace 2 people who've gone. Who do you want to step up into those roles?
Rhea Ripley.
You want Rhea to step up straight away?
Yep.
Okay.
I think she's ready. She's ready for it. She's a champion. She's amazing.
I'm certainly not arguing with that.
She's, from what I've seen of her, she's been absolutely incredible. She could, I feel like, given the right push. I feel like she's an easier sell than Shayna as well. Which I think like they have a similar energy, but I think that Rhea is an easier sell.
I certainly think,
which is, I think is an important
easier to put her in that position.
Yeah,
because
the other one I don't know. I wouldn't know who to say there.
That's fair, because I've given this a little bit of thought, and to be honest with you, I hadn't even thought about Shayna Baszler.
It's a shame because she was so good. Yeah,
it says a lot about how she's been portrayed coming out of Mania. Everyone thought she was going to win the title, and considering how now Becky's gone, if they'd have known Becky was trying to have a child, then maybe they'd have pulled the trigger on it. Pardon me, a little bit earlier.
Was she trying, or was it an immaculate conception? He is the Messiah.
Maybe he just thought it and willed it into existence. Yeah. If you build it, they will come. Wait, no, that doesn't work. But so I haven't thought Baszler, and I had to be honest with you, I think they've got to build Ripley up again before they knock her down a peg again. I think what they want is someone who's going to not have been up there yet, but to push them and go, okay, here you are. And the best way to do that is coming out of a feud, which is under the main event, to push someone out of the main event into the main event.
Yeah.
And my first selection, who I think has shown to be very, very much improved in the ring and miles better improved on the microphone than I ever thought that she would be, is Sonya Deville.
I've not seen enough to know. I know that she's been getting a lot of screen time.
Yeah, obviously it would appear on the surface that Mandy Rose will be coming out of this looking better, but I still foresee both of them are being made better by this feud coming out. Like Otis is being made, and this is one of the things WWE are doing really good right now, is them building up stars. Like watching Raw last night, apart from McIntyre and Bobby Lashley and Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins, there were 2 main feuds, 4 people.
Yeah.
There were another 8 guys, all part of that, and it was amazing to see. They were managed to build up people like Humberto Carrillo, Andrade's in there again, sort of thing. Aleister Black. They're building up stars again, and it's doing really, really well. And I think that Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are going to be built out of this thing around Otis.
I remember seeing Sonya in NXT when she still had her cornrows and everything, and thinking she's really good. She's going to be really good.
Yeah.
I hope that she's around here for a little while. And then they brought in Absolution and Riot Squad.
Yeah.
They basically had 2-3 sets of women.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, that's a bit too quick. And
yeah,
to her credit, to both her and Mandy's credit, they've just stuck around. They've not really done much, but they've stuck around for a long time. And now that they're using them, it's oh, good. Because you've skipped your developmental stage. You had your developmental stage in just basically the undercard of the main roster.
That's the thing. Because so Mandy Rose, when she first got signed, she was on the last season of Tough Enough.
Ah, okay.
She'd been around for a long time. She got to the final 2 women.
And Sonya
Deville had been in NXT for a while. It's she's been down there, but not on pay-per-view. She's been on NXT television,
Yeah. But there's loads of people in the PC that we just don't see on
Oh,
TV.
yeah. Well, most of them have been sacked now because they can't afford to
Well,
pay
yeah,
anyone.
there was loads of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though Vince McMahon's in massive profit for the quarter. It's like, all that money we've saved. Haha. Because he's still getting all the TV money and all the money from Saudi Arabia still. And
The
he's
reason
just...
that I'm not watching.
Yeah, like, it's a weird one because Raw's actually really good at the moment. SmackDown's been okay. But, yeah, it's a surreal time.
I keep my finger on the pulse with it all, but
Yeah.
I don't watch any of it because I've got massive moral objections against it. It's like kind of where I've planted my flag.
That's perfectly fair. No one's going to have a go at you for that, are they? You know, so... my other
Probably,
one...
it's the internet.
Yeah. So my other one, as far as who I think should get put into that position, is... And she's being held off TV for a while until the Street Profits finish their god-awful feud in the tag team. I think it's done now with the Viking Raiders. Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair, after a powerful showing at the Rumble,
This is
already
amazing
called up to
hearing
Raw.
you say this.
But after slating her for a while.
Yeah.
I,
You were the most anti-Belair person.
early NXT wise, when she first kind of like started building up, I just didn't
Even this
like.
time last year.
Yeah, I just wasn't a fan. But like, it's just kind of come together a bit. And honestly, when it was after that performance at the Rumble, I kind of thought, you know what? Because I nearly put Naomi in the spot for giving her another push again in the go. Because everyone loves Naomi, and I love Naomi, and I think she's one of the best women on the roster. But she's already had a little go, and she'll get another go, I think. But let's give someone else a go first. And I think Bianca Belair should probably get slipped in there just quick.
Are the Usos back yet?
I don't believe so. I haven't.
that's
I don't
still
recall
legal
seeing
issues.
them. Yeah. No, I think they're just an unaround television scenario.
Weird.
After
Why would you keep someone so good just off TV and just it's for bigger reasons?
I'm not. I haven't seen them. They might be about. I'd have to double check the Usos to be honest,
Yeah.
because I know Kofi and Big E are about while Woods is off injured.
Yep.
I'm just not too sure about the Usos. It's a good point actually, James. Where are the Usos? Hey,
Are they arrested again?
I can't imagine so. I mean, there's nowhere to go in
I
the
think
car.
Jimmy's only got like one more strike left, hasn't he? Pretty
Well,
much.
something like that. Be a great shame if he goes because of any, like, demon-related stuff. And I say demon-related stuff, that's the polite way the WWE use of saying pisshead who drives a car.
He's got alcohol dependency issues by the seams of it, or
Be
just
a grown
is
up.
bit of a
Get
twat.
the bus.
It might just be a twat. You don't know. It might not have demons. He might just be
Yeah.
a bit of a twat who thinks that he can drive.
I always got that impression from Rikishi. Like he
Well, he was
might
just
be a
a bit of a
bit
twat.
of a bellend. Yeah,
Yeah. Might be a family thing.
maybe. I don't know. They're all terrifying Samoan family people, so I'm not going to say anything to
Is
them.
anyone? Is yeah.
Beat the
Basically,
piss out of
it's a
me
case of
walking down the
No
street.
one's no one's gonna actually come out.
Oh, of course
because
not,
We'll just
no.
fucking kill him, and then blame it on the Rock.
Yeah, man. I'd do it for the Rock. Of course he did. So yeah, that's our little rundown of the women's division. Don't want to slip in a cheeky second pick, James, before we move on.
I can't think of anyone. I still can't think of anyone else. I will trust your judgment.
Oh, that's very kind of you. You can come back.
I think they've proven that they don't know what to do with
Yeah.
most of their Japanese talent. I'm glad that Asuka is getting another push.
Well, Kairi Sane is out injured again because
Oh,
Nia
is she?
Jax beat the piss out of her.
Okay.
Did you not see a cut on her head? Nia Jax threw her into
Yeah,
the ring
yeah,
steps
that's
and she
right,
went
because yeah.
there. That's where the cut went. It was horrible.
Nia's bad.
I'd take her off telly because
Yeah.
she's been in the title picture as well. I'm like,
Yep.
she's hurting people. Don't give her a title shot.
Yep.
Like,
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible stuff. The only one is what's her name in NXT? Not Io Shirai. The gangster.
Keith Lee's missus.
Yeah.
Oh God, what's her name?
The head bitch in charge.
I always remember her TNA name, and I've forgotten that as well.
Her. She's very good. I like
Yeah,
her.
she's very good. Yeah, and then, again, former TNA Knockouts champion. Yeah, she's very, very good, and I can't remember her name at all, which is really upsetting.
Yeah, that's annoying me.
It'll just
We're
appear.
so
We'll just
professional.
shout it in a minute. Well, it took us an hour to work out the audio, James. All the wrestling knowledge I had went out of my head while I was trying to play with.
Know that.
I'm not going to lie to them.
This was seamless.
If for some reason anyone's watching this, James, and I am watching the view counter, and it went up to 3 at one point, so someone popped in to say hello, and no one stayed. The chat hasn't moved. But that's not the point. It's not the point. Of course, going up against NXT on Wednesday is AEW's next show. Mia Yim, that's the ticket. Thank you, for internet, for Googling that for James. James,
Yo.
is Chris Jericho going to win against Orange Cassidy? Or is he going to be nice and let him have one on Wednesday night? Because on paper, Orange Cassidy should never be winning this. But Chris Jericho, it might be the nicest person who's ever laced up a pair of boots.
And I think he might believe in Freshly Squeezed.
Yeah. Because it is probably their most over thing.
Yeah, I could see Orange Cassidy getting a win.
Sneaky
It'll be with like a cheeky roll up or something. Yeah. Like he'll do well. Like he'll get beat to start, then he'll start trying, and he'll do well. He'll have his big comeback. Then Jericho will start dominating. He'll get him in the walls, and Orange will just roll him over and get a sneaky schoolboy, like 1, 2, 3. And then he gets bum rushed by the rest of Inner Circle or something.
Because Best Friends, I think, have a tag title opportunity on Wednesday as well.
I think they're going to win that.
So I don't, because I don't think Best Friends are tag team champions right now. I thought
they were going to be the first NXT. First champion.
For the reason that I thought they'd give it a nice babyface pop, and I was close because they went with SCU instead. So the reasoning was right. I just picked the wrong team. I do think that Bucks, not Bucks, sorry. FTR are going to end up being the team to next get the belts, which is when we'll see Hangman, Kenny split, and then they'll feud finally, and they'll both be elevated by that. So I don't see the point.
I think FTR definitely are on track, but it's who they take them off. I wouldn't be surprised if they do the split, and it's the split that causes Best Friends to get the win.
It's not a bad shout.
Like and then they don't have it for long. FTR just come in, dominate them, and then that's when we get a long program with the Bucks.
It's like, because of the fact that they are fighting a tag team match, I don't think we'll see the Best Friends in the Freshly Squeezed match, which I'm assuming will be later in the night.
It's It's on the second week of Fyter Fest.
Are there 2 nights of Fyter Fest?
They're doing it over 2 weeks.
Now then, I didn't know that.
Jericho's on commentary for the first night.
I haven't seen anything about that. So that's my research up to cunt. Don't care, my channel, say what I want. Okay, then that removes that then. I still don't think we'll see much interference in the Jericho Squeeze match, because I think we'll have a good actual to and fro battle with Jericho getting cocky and then a comeback from Freshly Squeezed. But I do think Jericho will win by elbowing Freshly Squeezed in the face. But Freshly Squeezed doesn't need to be winning this to get elevated from the match. Jericho will lose more by losing than
Jericho.
Jericho will lose more by losing than Cassidy will gain by winning. So I think that'll be I'm really looking forward to the match. I'm a big fan of Orange Cassidy. I'm a huge fan of Chris Jericho. I'm really looking forward to both those people like tying it up. Probably the match I'm most looking forward to over the coming days. Still a bit up in the air as to what's happening with obviously Jon Moxley. So
I mean, he's on the poster that they released today.
Oh, okay. Because
I don't know if that is for night 1 or if that might be next week.
There's probably more chance of it being 2 weeks. So obviously, he's still shown no symptoms, but they'll test him immediately. But
of course,
Because is it Fighter Fest he's due with Cage? Or is that an all-in?
I don't think that's tomorrow night. I think that is... I think that one is next week.
Well,
let me see.
That does make sense. But
yeah.
Obviously, for those of you who haven't heard, and if you haven't heard, you probably shouldn't be watching this small erroneous video podcast talking about wrestling, because if you didn't know Renee Young had coronavirus, you obviously don't go on Twitter, which is probably good for your mental health more than anything else, because we do too much and we are sad a lot of the time. Renee Young has coronavirus. Obviously, Renee Young, a part of WWE's commentary team, married to AEW heavyweight champion Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
We don't know if Jon Moxley is going to appear as of yet. It is advertised that he will appear. If he doesn't appear, I can't imagine they will strip him of the title.
It is. He is on the poster. They've released an official poster with him and Brian Cage, and it's for July 8th.
Okay, so it was in 2 weeks' time.
It's a week's time.
Week's time. Oh, so okay.
It's the first tomorrow.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Sorry.
So yeah, Fighter Fest is tomorrow night is the first one, and then next week.
So do we have a card for the matches we do have tomorrow?
Just looking for. Here we go. So tomorrow night we've got Santana and Ortiz versus Private Party, with Matt Hardy in their corner.
Weird. I'm assuming V1.
I mean, I love what they're doing. I love what they're doing, where it's just like you never know which Matt Hardy you're gonna get.
It is like the best thing they can do.
I hope we get Team Extreme Hardy with Private Party. That'd be incredible.
That would be very cool. Like, have they now stopped calling them Pride and Powerful? Are they just called Santino and Ortiz now?
They are just Santana and Ortiz,
okay,
yeah.
Because Pride and Powerful was a stupid name.
Proud and
Powerful.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Goofballs 1 and Goofball 2. Yeah, it was a stupid name.
Yeah, it was a bad name from day one. They've had to change up the women's title because someone got injured a little while ago. So they've extended the Penelope Ford feud. So it's Hikaru Shida and Penelope Ford.
Penelope Ford hasn't actually done or had a lot of singles matches. She stepped in to face Chris Statlander because someone got injured.
Statlander.
Because she stepped in to face Statlander because Britt Baker got injured in the number one contenders match.
And then Statlander
got injured. So all the number one contenders...
It was meant to be Statlander and Shida. Like, they were building to that, and I think Penelope Ford was meant to be an in-between.
Yeah. Well, but then obviously Statlander did her knee ligaments.
Shida's going to win that one.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I can't see they'll take it off after beating Nyla Rose. As a replacement's not going to win. I don't think.
Jurassic Express.
I am looking forward to this, and this match is tomorrow.
MJF and Wardlow.
This is going to be very, very good. I'd like to talk about this match for a moment if we can.
Yeah, two big guys, two mid-sized guys.
Oh, two mid-sized guys who put on a clinic at the last pay-per-view show.
They're incredible. Yeah,
like an actual old-school knockdown brawl wrestling match. Some of the reversals, the counters, like the offense, the defense, it was masterfully done. I don't know who put this match together, because they're both really young guys. I don't know if there's an agent back there who ran over the match, or if both of them sat down and went, "We'll do this."
They've got a lot of people who believe in them.
Yeah.
Jungle Boy and MJF especially have got a lot of people that believe in them and see them as the future.
Like, I'd seen MJF wrestle a good singles match before.
I'd seen him live. I'd seen him against ELP.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That
was a York Hall match that I was at.
Oh, that's fantastic. I didn't know that, man. I don't think I've ever seen MJF.
He'd been signed. He was an AEW guy. It was after they'd done the press conference. But it was before anything started. It was like March last year. April.
Didn't you go to that with Pete?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I couldn't afford to go to that. That's a shame. But I'd never seen Jungle Boy in a proper singles match before. And I have to say, I was very, very impressed. He was very, very good.
I've seen one or two of his. I saw the one against Jericho, the New Year's Day show.
He
did the lasting, however long he needed to last against Jericho. That was really good.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was ages ago.
And obviously Wardlow
6 months ago.
Yeah. In 2020 time,
Yeah.
that's like 6 years ago. And Wardlow is Rhino's son. So, he comes from wrestling pedigree.
He's not.
Yeah, he is. That's
He's
Rhino's
Rhino's son.
Wardlow is Rhino's son.
I'm guessing his mum has normal-sized arms. Because Rhino has Tyrannosaurus arms.
Which is funny
I can totally...
he's not in Jurassic Express.
Yeah. I totally get the resemblance. That's amazing. Wardlow is excellent.
Wardlow Rhino is his full name.
Oh, nice.
Wardlow got the TV title, the TNT title. Cody defending against Jake Hager.
Jake Hager's not taking that, but I can imagine Cody...
No, but it should be a really fun match because they both are just good, solid workers.
AEW...
I've seen that match before in WWE.
It was probably for the United States Championship on a
It was probably a mid-card title, yeah.
I think AEW have done more to build up Jake Hager than WWE ever did to build up Jack Swagger, and they put the World Heavyweight title on Jack Swagger.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? He's a much more impressive person now with nothing.
Yeah.
And barely saying
Hey,
anything.
Jake, stand over there and say nothing and look scary.
Yep. Oh, he's fucking hilarious. Did you see when they did their video where, like, at the start of the Rona, everyone was thanking all the medical professionals and everything. They went through the entire roster.
Oh yeah.
And like you had all the heels were like being quite nice and genuine and be like, no, thank you. Like, and then it cut to Hager and he was just that was it.
Staring blankly, yeah, man.
And then gave a nod. And it was like, that's great. That's good stuff. Omega Hangman against Best Friends.
No one. Unlike you, I don't see a title changing here. But if it does, then fair play to the Best Friends. But
I think they will because that's 3 of the 4 titles all tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And I think we'll get tag title change. And then Jericho's on commentary for that one.
Fair.
But that's your card. 5 matches. It's a TV show. It's
a good card, man. For live TV, it's going to be very good.
I don't know what.
No wonder Sasha Banks is going to NXT tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't know what Night 2 is other than the title match. Don't know what other matches have been announced.
Who else is available to wrestle?
I'm guessing the Bucks will have a match.
Bucks FTR. Oh no, isn't there an 8-man tag? It's Bucks and the Revival Bucks and FTR. Versus. What was the tag team with the bunny called? Dark Order and the guy from Every Time I Die and his mate.
Yeah. Butcher and
the Blade. There we go.
Butcher and Blade.
Yeah. Butcher and Blade.
Oh wow! So Bucks and FTR
are tagging together. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because when they made their debut, they came out to help them, and they beat up Butcher and the Blade. So.
Yeah. But also with a antagonistic. Way about them.
That reminds me, actually, James.
That'd be a really fun
on the subject of tag team wrestling, the other evening, we were discussing former Bullet Club members and former Raw tag team champions and friends of the phenomenal AJ Styles, the Good Brothers.
Just seen the news.
Have you just seen it while looking for the card on there?
Yeah.
They did get signed for TNA, so my joke about, well, just go for it, you're never going to get there unless you ask, they did it. They actually got Gallows and Anderson to sign contracts with Impact Wrestling.
I'm guessing
tremendous
that
coup.
Is because they have been given the all clear to wrestle in New Japan whenever they
want. I believe so.
I am really interested to see what they do in New Japan, whether they go back and be like, we're here to clean up the Bullet Club sort of thing. Or if they go back and say, fuck this, and Anderson wants to rejoin Chaos.
Well, I think what they're doing is, the deal must be to do with, okay, you can't really fly to Japan right now because the world's on fire. Wrestle here with us. When everything's open again, you can go back to Japan. Maybe it's a 1-year deal.
You do your tournaments and stuff. You're not going to be on
TV
every week
stay.
There, so.
You might as well stay here and do Impact until you can be there full time.
it's
I
Gallows,
would
isn't it,
love.
who's got the hot Asian wife.
Yep.
I'm sure that she'd probably want to revisit home
Yep.
more often.
Well, I'm pretty sure they live in like Hawaii or somewhere. I heard him say on an interview once.
So somewhere in between.
But I would love to see them go into, obviously, Tessa Blanchard's quit. She's not dropping the title. Slammiversary was supposed to be a last night anyway.
So I don't know about this at all, other than her being stripped of the title
Okay.
and
Right.
apparently refusing to send in promos and stuff. Like, so she was their world champion.
So yeah, there was she was the former Knockouts champion. She had a great feud with Taya Valkyrie, who is.
I mean, she's great. Everyone
Yeah.
If you don't know Tessa Blanchard, you're an idiot. She's amazing.
She wrestled the first All In, if I remember correctly, in the four-way match, which was the first time I really started seeing her. But she was starting to get a lot of notoriety and impact at the time. She was a known
name. She was in she was Ring of Honor, wasn't she, at the time?
She was Ring of Honor. Oh, maybe that was it. Yeah, she was
she was yeah because All In was like quite heavily tied with everyone.
They did have a few Impact people there as well.
Yeah, they had a lot of other people. Like, it was basically like, hey, look, we're friendly with everyone.
Yeah, because at the time Pentagon.
We're not doing this to set up our own company.
At the time, Pentagon Junior was still working loosely with Impact, if I remember correctly, as well, because he's a former Impact champion as well.
Yeah.
But there was, after Brian Cage got injured, there was a gap to fill as far as like title contendership, and Sami Callihan was building up a lot of like heel like kind of anger. He was one of the best heels in the business for a little while at the back end of last year. But before he went and had his title matches with Brian Cage and various people after Cage came out from injury, he had a feud with Tessa Blanchard. And they beat the absolute piss out of each other in front of like 600 people in like hardcore matches and stuff.
Does Impact generally have like mixed matches?
Not massively, no. It's not known for it. The booking changed a little bit last year. Yeah, they basically went, okay, Tessa's having this feud with Sammy, and then she won, and then she got entered into like a battle royal. Well, I know it was into what's it when one person comes to a ring at the time, and this winner stays on. Gauntlet. Yeah, it was a gauntlet, and she came out and she beat Brian Cage to become #1 contender.
Wow.
Which was a big deal, you know. She beat Brian Cage, who's incredible. Yeah. And then she knocked off Sami Callihan and became Impact champion, which was everyone was like, "This is mad! They've got a women's Impact World champion." I'm a big fan of it, and obviously when that came out,
defending against blokes,
very much so. And when it all came out and came through, she was still fighting like for Ty Valkyrie and other women as well, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
But there was obviously a lot of stuff about her racism coming out and being quite an aggressive, angry person. And she cut a promo after winning the world title, and it all kind of like slowly went away. So it'll be interesting to see now if she gets picked up by WWE. Obviously, I've got a couple of gaps in their roster, as we discussed earlier.
And aren't afraid to work with racists.
Aren't afraid to work with anyone at all. Vince will always forgive someone if he has a chance to make money. I think we all are aware of that from his previous actions.
It's the reason that they've got people like Dream still on the books.
Exactly. Although they seem to have cut a few people, but I noticed they're only cutting the people that are people they're not going to make any money with. Like, I don't think Vince McMahon cares if El Ligero's on the books, but it's going to Evolve can get shut down because they work with Vince. They don't work for Vince. But I think there's a good possibility. Obviously, you have to drop the title. Last night was supposed to be Slammiversary. She didn't want to do promos and send them in because it was supposed to be a 5-way scramble match with Austin Ace.
Is that Austin Aries?
No, Austin Ace or Ace Austin.
Yeah, but is that the same guy?
No, it's a guy called Ace Austin or Austin Ace. He's a young guy. He's really, really good. Does a few flippy doos, quite hench. Kind of reminds me of Austin Theory in appearance. Blanchard, and then I think there were 3 other people whose names I can't remember off the top of my head. But then you've got Moose over there at the moment still, who he got the old Moose. He got the old TNA heavyweight title. Has been wearing it on TV and defending it because Tessa hasn't been there because she was stuck in Canada. She couldn't get to Canada. So
I thought
Moose
he
is the
was
only
Mexican. I thought
person
he
with a
lived down in
world
Mexico.
title belt on the show, but he's not the world champion. So
Fair enough.
I have no idea what Impact Wrestling is going to do. I've wanted Moose to be the world champion for ages anyway. I don't know why
They've
they
been
don't just go.
teasing the return of people like EC3.
I think that EC3 is going to end up back there, to be honest with you. I also think Hawkins and Ryder are going to end up at TNA or Impact.
These people are all people that I could just, they scream TNA to me.
Yeah.
They seem like those types.
Well, I also know that the market's got a lot of good people on it right now, but I think Impact want to learn from their previous mistakes
people.
because they've already had let's sign up all the WWE guys and it went downhill. And I think they just signed too many, and I think a couple here or there would do wonders for their business. So,
yeah, that makes sense. Whereas like AEW, they know who they wanted and they went for them. And they've got the people that they wanted.
I think they've got a clearer vision.
Blanket. They're not just going to blanket sign whoever's left.
Yeah,
they've been wanting the Revival for fucking years. And I think they saw a really good opportunity with obviously with Matt and with Dark Order. What's his name? Who's now the leader of the Dark Order?
He was Luke Harper, and now he's called.
Yeah.
Christ, what was his independent name? I keep drawing blanks today, man.
We're terrible today. I think it's because it's late. We've been recording quite a lot today.
We've been talking on podcasts like 4 hours today now. It's stupid.
Yeah, we've done quite a lot. It's fine. Him. But yeah, so they knew exactly who they wanted there, which is good. And
I'm also because I'm really glad they went with him and not with Matt, because Matt I think would have been too obvious, and going with Luke Harper, but the new Luke Harper, whose name keeps eluding us, I think was a better fit, and I really enjoy what they've been doing. His match against Moxley at the pay-per-view was very, very good as well. So
yeah, it was.
On that note, we've started
Brody Lee.
Brody Lee, thank you, James. So we started with NXT. We went to the women's division via 1997, and we covered a bit of AEW and Impact Wrestling. I think we might call that a day for the day. And by that, what I mean is it's nearly the end of the day, and I'm a tired boy. Big tired boy.
This is good. I like this. I think we should do this.
Everything worked, which I think is fantastic.
And we know how to make it all work.
Yeah, exactly. And everything's been recorded, and everything is fantastic. So, James, thank you for being my guinea pig, my friend, and
the colour to your play-by-play.
1/3 of the greatest imaginary wrestling trio of all time, the Lonely Boys. Tell the people where they can find you.
Every day I can write about.
You can find me every day.
I write about all sorts of things. Sometimes it's wrestling, sometimes it's not. But everything that I write is at 365project.co.uk.
That's the one. And obviously James was also on Twitter, and if you ever see me playing on here, my Twitch channel with a Jay Hewlett, that'll be James as well. He normally joins in with the Payday 2 fun, along with other Lonely Boy, Holly Hoopy, aka our friend Ed. If you're ever in
the three of us also host Lonely Boys Meets World.
We do.
It's a weekly podcast where we talk about the TV show Boy Meets World.
If you type !pod in the chat, like I have just done, if you're watching the VOD on Twitch, it does a link to the Podbean so you can download the episode. So if you are watching this as a run back on Twitch, right now in the chat will be a link to the Lonely Boys Meets World, Boy Meets World review. This itself, if you are finding it on YouTube, everything below will be linked to all of our socials, all of our stuff, everything you want to find. And I guess, and I'd always promised myself I'd never say this, but I'm going to anyway. Like the video and subscribe to me talking wrestling. It's down there. He points that. The fucking subscribe button, yeah? It's YouTube, you know where it is.
Wait, if I do one of these, can you put in like a box? Something like a Lonely Boys box or something right here.
Yeah.
You're not going to, are you?
Yeah.
You're just going to make me hold my hands up.
I'm gonna pause the screen now and get paint on the screen and just draw a small penis. But yeah, like, thank you for being there, James. For the person who popped in on Twitch, thanks for coming in. And yeah, everyone, I'll see you all very soon. Thanks for coming by. Take care, everybody.